Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about Nancy Drew's Season 3, Episode 3, The Testimony of an Executed Man. I actually enjoyed this episode. It was really pleasant. It reminded me so much of Season 1. There was little ghost action. It was very rare, and when they needed it, like it was there. The jump scare actually got me for the first time in 3 seasons. I wasn't expecting that to happen and stuff. There was no witch stuff. There was no tempest stuff. It was just a nice, pleasant episode. And even Ace got a little something to do and everything. But so that was nice to see because that dude really never has anything to do. And so yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode because what I really loved so much was Nancy Drew season 1. When they went to the Monster of the Week thing in season 2, that got on my nerves. And then when they went to this whole witchcraft thing, I'm just like, we already got one witchcraft show, so why do you need 2 on CW? But yeah, so this episode was really interesting. So they went, so it's the Drew crew. And it's Nancy, George, and Ace. And they're getting ready to go to some type of detective con type thing. And George is really excited to go because she said Nick has been stressing her out. And Ace is really wanting to go because he feels though Bess is smothering him. But before they go, there's a woman who does a podcast named Lacey, and she wants an evidence box from some guy named Joe Kelsey. So he's the murderer of a case, and there's his evidence stuff all in the box from something that happened about 50 something years ago, back in where in the 1950s were. So she goes and she gets the evidence box, and being Nancy Drew and everything, she just can't help herself. She just had to open it, and when she opens it and takes stuff out, she sees the murder weapon. All of a sudden, Ace's car stops, and it will not run. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's a giant ghost person. Well, not giant, but it's he has a big head. That's why it was giant to me. So it's a ghost person. He bangs up against the window and stuff. And it not only freaked them out, but like I said, for the first time in 3 seasons, I was actually legit whoa. So, I was not expecting that. And how loud it was, it just caught me off surprise and stuff. So, one thing I want to say, the 2 dads, they are not in this episode, which I'm kind of glad. The 2 dads have been getting on my nerves since last season when they started to become buddy-buddy with each other. And it's kind of no, I don't want them being buddy-buddy with each other. I want them to have conflict with each other because they hate each other. And they're both Nancy's dad. One's adopted her and one's the biological one. This show needs some type of level of drama between the characters, and they don't really have that. And that's what's been bothering me in these last 2 seasons, is the drama left in season 2, and there's no conflict between the characters. Everybody just gets along. And with this being type of show it is, you need some form of conflict. So I was happy to see the dads not here. Plus, they've been smothering her too much this season. They don't want her going nowhere. They're worried. She's a grown woman who solves mysteries. Let her do her thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, Nick in this episode, he's pretty much on the sidelines. He's hanging out with Tin, which is George's younger sister, who got kidnapped very early in the first season by a ghost. She's getting older now, and she's on her laptop and doing her homework and stuff like that. Bess in this episode, they're starting to make Bess interesting again. So thank God for that, because she was one of my favorite characters from the first season. And so Bess is very annoyed that they went to this detective con thing without her. She feels as though she's so lonely right now because the ghost lady left her. She feels everybody's abandoning her and stuff. And so she's taking up a side job. I don't know if she still works at the Claw or not, but she's now an intern at the historical place. The place where that one lady works at. I forget one lady's name because she don't show up that much. But in the book, she was Nancy Drew's babysitter or caretaker or something like that. And so, housekeeper or something like that. So anyway, that lady's not showing up, which she needs to because she's in the freaking books. But anyway, I guess they need Bess to do something this season. So Bess is there, and wouldn't you know it, one of her dates that she went on has showed up. Bess thinks this woman is like following her, kind of like stalkery type thing. Um, because I think this was the one she was making out with and called Ace, and Ace had to like rush her out there, driving like a maniac through town. And oh, before I get into that, when Bess was pouring her tea, she poured it. She turned around real quick, turned back around. Now there's a coaster underneath her tea. She don't understand what's going on. I think she conducted a spell 2 episodes ago, something like that. I don't know. I didn't review last week episode. It kind of bugged me. But yeah, I am still worried for Nancy Drew. I mean, it's on Friday nights, and where I'm at, it comes on at 8 o'clock. Your best shows come on at like 7. When something has to come on at 8, that's normally not a good sign. And there's only 13 episodes. So there's only 10 left. So yeah, I'm a little slightly worried. So Bess is being a little rude to her in a slightly snooty way, a slightly flirtish way. You could tell she's interested, especially when the woman tell her that she's not there for Bess. She's there to look up some research. She's Native American and looking up something for like her people and stuff. So Bess is a little annoyed by that, but she's also slightly interested. So Bess gets a call, and it's the Drew crew. She thinks, woohoo, y'all miss me and everything. Nope, they need her to do research. See, what happened was, back to Nancy and them. So Nancy and them get out, and they go inside like a factory, because Nancy's Nancy. And George is being hilarious in this episode, talking about only Nancy Drew going to like an abandoned warehouse where the murder took place and everything. So while they're in there, the doors lock and they can't get out. The ghost has trapped them in there. But then this is what's really interesting. The ghost is replaying the crime scene of what happened. And so like we see the night watchman running, and he gets hit by like somebody behind him with a hammer. Can't see his face though. Nancy's kind of weirded out. She don't understand why the killer is showing us what happened and stuff like that. And so they call Bess, and she tells them like this. Also, all the evidence stuff has like scattered around the building, so they go in looking for it and stuff. And the hammer's like floating up in the air, and then that's when like he replays what happened. So Bess tells them after doing some research, it's best just to burn everything in that evidence box, and it should release whatever curse is going on. So that's what they do. They take the box, they take everything out, and they burn it. But Ace keeps the matches, and they keep like the evidence tape, like the evidence don't cross line type thing, whatever, the caution tape, whatever. So they kept that too. Nancy starts to realize something. When she watched the murder happen, she noticed that the killer was right-handed. This made no sense because when she read the autopsy thing, the person died from being no, wait. The autopsy said the person was struck on the right side of their head, but the killer person had the hammer in their left. So like Nancy was kind of suspicious. He's all like, why would one thing say one thing and what happened another? So she knows that something's going on. And as she read, like the person who confessed to the murder confessed to like the entire thing. And she doesn't understand why this ghost, if this ghost is innocent, he confessed to like a murder he did not commit. They don't know what's going on, but they head to the detective con, and Nick shows up. And so when they're there, the coolest thing kind of happens. George is like walking around, and she notices that she has a fan club. Somebody's been telling all of George's business about how she died, came back alive, defeat ghosts, and she has a plucky sidekick by the name of Nancy Drew. I was not expecting that. That was a cute moment right there. So she wants to know who did it. Nick is doing his detective work and bought some merchandise and tracked the location down and found out who it came from. It's George's sister, 10. See, normally I don't like it when they keep introducing like family members in the shows like this, and it's kind of like they had nothing to do and they just like shoehorn. But at least this one fit into like a little side plot, so that was kind of cute and stuff. So while they're there, Bess is a little upset because they didn't burn everything, and then so Nancy is still trying to figure out who this like frozen heart killer person is. And the reason why she went to Detective Con is because the Lacey lady said that she has some information on the killer, but she wants that box first. So Nancy gives her like, well, before Nancy even gives her the box, they're kind of like struggling a little bit back and forth until she gets the information she wants. Well, Lacey tells her straight up that when she had her podcast, she kind of like praised a little bit of the heart killer dude or something like that, and he liked that to the point where he told her his name and stuff. The caller. See, I'm kind of messing this up. So the caller called in and he liked that she praised the killer, so he gave her name and this and that, and it kind of weirded her out to where she thinks that the caller might be like, like the killer and stuff. Nancy finds this out, and so she gives her the box, which has everything's been burnt. So it's an empty box. But Nancy goes back to the crew and she's all like, she thinks that the killer might be here and there's a way to snuff him out. He loves being praised. If we can piss him off and we see who looks agitated, then that should be able to reveal the killer. I gotta say, it is somewhat of a clever plan, especially, but it only works if he's that obsessed with himself, Like, it's a neat plan, but I wish it was more. That's one problem I have. See, they combined two different murder mysteries in this one episode. And the way they caught the killer was a little weak. Like, they had to rush that. And I don't like it when it's rushed. It should have been more complex. Like, this is the CW. The CW is known for drama. There should have been like a big bam wham, thank you ma'am type thing. You know what I'm saying? And the way they caught the killer was just a little weak, in my opinion. Because the only way that's going to work is somebody's super agitated. Plus, what if somebody else gets agitated, which somebody did. See, she does that when she's there talking to the crowd and everything. She's making fun of the killer. And so, like, this one man is getting agitated big time. But when the Drew crew go to, like, apprehend him, he's part of kind of like this, God, what did they call it? Like role-playing thing. So when they went to Detective Con, they're trying to solve a pretend murder. Kind of like the game Clue, I guess you could say. And so you're trying to figure out who the killer is, and there's somebody there playing a part. So it's him. So they're like, crap, we got the wrong dude. See, that's how that plan can backfire. But Lacey tells Nancy that the heart killer dude, he's missing 2 fingers. So that's what they should have did. They should have walked around, looked for somebody who has 2 fingers and everything. But they don't. Now, I'm going to get to Ace in a minute. But first, so Nancy, she goes down what looks like kind of like a basement cellar type place. But she's in another part of the building. And then, boom, there shows up the killer dude. He tells her some stuff. Being Nancy, she records his conversation. And so he's going to attack her when her friends show up. Then he tries to run, they open the door, and boom, the cops are there. It was weak. That was just too nicely wrapped in a bow. And it was just too, like, weak. And plus they called the cops. Like, how did they know that? Okay, when she went down that place, how did they know he was gonna bolt through that door and the cops are just gonna, like, be there, But anyways, this is what happened when you combine 2 different stories in one episode. So that bugs me. So, at the end, she is talking to Ace, and she replays what the killer said. And he said that this is much of a bigger, like, plot or something like that. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. So now she's just kind of like, this mystery really isn't truly 100% solved because there's more to it. And what's going to be more to it? Don't know. It could be that little organization from last season that got mentioned. But, like, hey, who knows and stuff. Plus, she hasn't even revealed to the whole world that she's Everett's, like, granddaughter. So, I guess that's going to get scrapped for now. But now to Ace Hardware Stores, which I like to call him. So when he kept the match, he got possessed by the ghost of what's his face. Now, the killer, when he was in the ghost form and in the factory, he was talking Yiddish to them. So, like, this is kind of like getting to Ace because he wants to know why the killer had numbers on his like arm, similar to that of the Holocaust. Holocaust. Oh, Jesus, have mercy. The Holocaust. This is what happened when you talk for a long time and your mouth get kind of stuck. And you're thirsty. I'm really thirsty right now. And so like so he's talking to Bess and he wants to figure out like what's going on and why he's possessed by this ghost. The ghost is pretty much just raising up his body temperature. Probably because the killer dude, well, the hammer killer dude, he got electrocuted. And so it's probably like burning Ace up. So they're trying to cool him down and stuff like that. He's being possessed. He's saying words he's not really sure, but he kind of knows. And so they gave him a little something to do, but I wish they would have made it more. See, it should have been a full episode of just that. Combining two stories is never a good idea. And so like, oh, Lacey, she was pissed that Nancy gave her an empty box and everything. And so she tells her, because in this episode, Ace, when he was walking out with Nancy, he had the matches and stuff. And there was this older black lady with white hair, very snowy white hair. And she recognizes the little match box thing that Ace had. It belonged to Joe because he mentioned Joe's name. And she's like, how do you know Joe? So it turns out, and she has a very touching story. Back in the 1950s, Joe worked at like a hotel. And I think she worked there too. And so they would arrive at different times and they would make out because they loved each other. Now, Joe, him speaking Yiddish, Jewish people are Jewish, but some people consider them white. Anyway, if they would have saw a black person and a white or a Jewish looking person together, she would have been like done for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how the 1950s were. Terrible times. And so for some reason, the cops assumed that he was the killer. Now, she knew for a fact Joe was not the killer because Joe was with her. But she could not tell nobody that her and Joe were hanky-panky because they both would have been in trouble, especially her. So when he found that out, that she was going to confess to the cops, that she was going to confess and tell them that Joe was with her, he decided he's going to make the ultimate sacrifice. He's going to confess to the murder that he did not commit so that they will leave her alone. And so that's why he's an innocent ghost and had to be electrocuted. It's touching. It's very sad. And this is why I like when I say like, because Nancy Drew every now and then would bring up like what I like to call black awareness. It irritated me when Nick in season 2 said that he talks differently when he's around black people from when he's around non-black people. And I thought to myself, I've never seen Nick act differently around black people. And I've seen him hang around black people. Like he acts the same 24/7. So I didn't understand why they wrote that. But they wrote it for like, you know, have some awareness to the community and stuff. And then so what bugged me even more after that was in season 2, they would have like an episode dedicated to like a black woman being killed by like a white cop in the cover up and stuff like that. Stuff like that does happen and stuff like that does need to get out. But the way they did it was just like out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? And it was like they should have followed up on that or had stuff leading up to that, shown like black people being you know, treated differently just because of who they are and what they are. And I just felt like when you just do a one done type thing, that's just a checkmark system that the CW likes to do and then call it awareness and everything. But I like this one because this one actually seemed like sincere and more like you know, and stuff. And it was touching other than just like boom, throwing something in your face and it's being kind of, oh, by the way, I'm black. So don't give me that crap of like, oh, you can't say that because you must be white. I'm not white, trust me. And so, like, I just don't like it when if they're gonna have a black awareness thing. It needs to be one, powerful, two, there need to be some kind of like build up. If you're gonna make it that powerful and stuff like that, just don't ram it in because of things that are happening around the world, and you decide to like cram into your show. And and so, but with this, it just was so touching, and something that a lot of people can relate to and stuff. And so, like with Bess, her lady, when she went to Nick early in the episode, he was at like a school and he doing something like for kids. 'Cause remember he was starting that thing like last season, and his assistant is that lady that Bess kind of likes, kind of don't. And so that her and Bess they talk a little bit more, and they have a heart to heart. And Bess like tells her, like why she did what she did to her and stuff like that. But she don't go into the whole ghost detail. And then all of a sudden, they just both like make out, like really hot and heavy. So she's gonna be Bess's new love interest, but thank God it's not a ghost this time. However, this is what I don't understand. The actress they got, when she was making out with Bess, Bess was all into it. Like Madison, the actress, she was all into it. Like they was hot and heavy. But the other actress just was kind of stiff when she was kissing Bess. Have you seen the Best actress, Madison? Have you seen the way she looks? Have you seen how pouty her lips are? How can you kiss her in a stiff, blasé kind of manner? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you go at that. So they should have got somebody who had more energy, because how can you be blasé about kissing this woman? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And that's pretty much the episode. Like, it wasn't like a great, perfect episode, but it was nice. There was no Dawn Witch stuff with the Tempest thing, because they don't need that in the show. The ghost stuff was subtle, just like in first season. It was more of the detective thing. I just wish they would have hammered more on the detective aspect. Like, the whole Joe Kelsey thing, that kind of just got rushed, in my opinion. His mystery and why he did what it is basically somebody just explaining exposition at the end. And so then how the way they killed the Frozen Heart Killer was kind of rushed too. Like I said, it was a good episode, it just wasn't great. They should have focused, it should have been split into two different episodes, and they should have focused more on one. And that would have made it a perfect episode. But at least I give them like effort for trying to go back to season one, because I think even somewhere, somebody who runs that show is realizing that they're alienating themselves from certain fan groups, because a show just doesn't go on Friday nights and at 8 p.m. for no reason. And their ratings have been declining a lot from like last season. And now they're down to 13 episodes. And it's just like, I think somebody was just kind of like, maybe we need to harper back to like season one when people was like really digging this show. So yeah. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.